In this video, I'm going to show you the very costly mistakes you have to avoid if you want to make your advert very profitable. And we're going to go straight into these Facebook ad mistakes that most newbie advertisers or most people who are getting started on the advertising space on Facebook fall into in the course of their advertising journey. So the first mistake to avoid is choosing the wrong campaign objective. Now, I've done an entire video on the different Facebook ad objectives and what each of them stands for, what each of them represents, and which one of them you should go for your advertising. Depending on what you're advertising, I explained in that video in great detail why you need each particular type of objective and what each one represents and which one you should go for. So I'll leave the link to the video in the description for you to go out and check for that video so you can have an in-depth understanding on what the different Facebook campaign objectives are and which one you should go for. However, in this video, it's important to state and note that if you choose the wrong campaign objective, you're already having a faulty foundation for your advertising, and no matter what you do afterwards, it will not be productive for you, because if the foundation is faulty, then definitely your adverts cannot be efficient, it cannot be productive, and it will not yield results for you. So it's important to understand that your campaign objective, whether you're choosing sales or leads or engagement, or traffic, whatever be the objective you want to choose, you must be sure, you must be certain that the objective you're choosing is one that is best suited for what you are selling. So most people make that wrong choice, and once they make that wrong choice, it affects whatever they do subsequently in their advertising. So you must ensure that you choose only the correct Facebook campaign objective for your advert. The second mistake I see most people make is the wrong targeting. Now, it's important to realize that targeting is more or less the soul of your advertising, because you must ensure that you're passing the right message to the right people. If you are selling a sanitary pad to a man, you're already wasting your advertising. If you are selling things that people do not need, you are already wasting your advertising. So the money you're putting in your advert is going down the drain, and every resource, energy, and time you've put into selling that advert is ultimately wasted. Now, it's important to know that the wrong targeting can cost you your ad, and this is why it's important to pay attention to targeting when you are trying to target your ideal customer. This is why the work of Facebook, I want you to pay attention to this very next part I'm about to say now. The beauty of succeeding with Facebook ads lies on what you do outside of the ads platform than what you do on the ad platform. Let me say that again. The success of your Facebook ad depends largely on what you do outside the advertising platform than what you do on the advertising platform. What do I mean by that? What that simply means is that when you take time to do a proper research, a proper customer avatar research to know who your ideal customer is, who your ideal client is, and you take time outside of the Facebook ad platform to study, to research, to know who are my target audience, what do they do, what are their interests, where do they live, what is their demographic, what is their psychography, what are the things that appeals to them. These are things that are done outside of the Facebook ad platform, so that when you come on the ad platform to set your targeting, you already have a rock solid interest and targeting based campaign based on what you have found out from your research. So the beauty of this is to go out of the platform, make your research about your customer, then come on the ads platform and then select the metrics you have chosen for your targeting. So by age, you can target them by age, by their gender, by their interests, by their behaviors. All of these things will happen on the platform as a result of your back-end study and research. So you must ensure that you do the right targeting, okay? You cannot be selling a real estate property to an 18-year-old who is living in his father's house. That is a wrong way of advertising, because you're just wasting your advertising budget. So you must understand targeting, and targeting is very key. You must understand how to use it to your advantage and how to make it work for you in the most possible way. Now, the next mistake I see is wrong budgeting, okay? Now, you must understand that Facebook ads is a platform that rewards the highest bidder, right? It rewards the highest bidder, meaning that the amount of money you're willing to pay Facebook will determine largely the kind of reach your advert will get and the possible chance of success your advert will get. Because if I use a poor budget or a low budget and target, let's say for just $5 a day is my budget, is my advertising budget. If I set just $5 and another advertiser sets $50 a day, certainly Facebook will favor the advert of the advertiser that is paying $50 a day, because Facebook platform works with an auction arrangement whereby they reward the highest bidder. Right? So you must understand that you may choose to start with a low budget, but just bear in mind that your reach will not be as high as that of other advertisers who are bringing a lot of money on the platform. And now it's very simple, because Facebook is also a business, and so they know that the more money the person brings, the more they would also advertise and showcase that ad to much more people, who will bring more sales to the advertiser, and the advertiser will come back again and put more money. So they want to always reward people who have the money. So first, do not take it as a waste when you spend a lot of money on the Facebook ads platform, all right? Because that is one of the guaranteed pathways of giving you very amazing return on ad spend, right? So ensure that your budgeting is not low. I see people who are doing very ridiculously low target budgeting and they expect to have tremendous results. It doesn't work that way, all right? You must ensure that your budgeting is just perfect for what you're advertising, and you can never go wrong putting in more money as long as you get other metrics correct. And you add a great budget for your advert, you will see astronomical results, amazing results from your advert. Okay, so I see people who, for example, use $1, or if you're in Nigeria, use 1,000 naira or 500 naira or 700 naira per day on ad, and you're targeting the whole of Nigeria. That is another way of wasting that money, because by the time Facebook begins to split that money to the whole of Nigeria, already your advert is already wasted. Your advert budget is already wasted. So the budget is so small for the kind of audience you are projecting at. So these are what things you should pay attention to when you are budgeting. So you can use a little budget or a small budget, but just realize that it may not give you the kind of results you may anticipate until you increase your budget. The next mistake I see most advertisers make as well is that they choose or they use a very weak ad creative. Now, this is very important. You see, it's your creative that your customer will see on their Facebook timeline that will cause them to stop scrolling and then pay attention to what your advert is telling them. Now, if your creative is not seriously compelling and actively persuasive, they will just scroll past your ad and not pay attention to it. And this is why, if it takes you to spend resources to even get the right creative for your advert, it is not a waste. It's actually an investment. Okay, and it's something that I highly recommend, that you take your time to really create a very amazing and compelling creative, such that when your target customer sees that you're creative, he's compelled within him to stop scrolling and listen to what you're saying, listen to what you're talking about in your advert, and then take the necessary action you want him or her to take. So I see a lot of weak creative, whether they're images or whether they are videos, they are so weak that anybody can just scroll past their advert, and by so doing, they are not actually responding to the advert because the creative is very weak. So as an advertiser who is smart, what you have to do is, aside your targeting and every other thing that you're doing at the back end, ensure that your creative, your image or your video or your carousel or whatever you're using as your creative is compelling enough. Know the right words to use, know the right images to use, know the right videos and the way the videos are structured to draw attention, know how to call out your audience, ensure that you understand the dynamics of persuasion, ensure that you understand human psychology when you're creating your advert, so that it pulls your customer to your ad. And once they are attracted, then they can now listen to what you're saying, and then they ultimately take the required step you want them to take, as long as your advert is concerned. Okay, and now the last mistake I see people make, but not the least, is not studying their metrics. This is very important, because if you don't study the metrics of your advert, you won't know what is working so that you can double down on it and scale. You won't know the mistakes you're making. You won't know the ads that are not performing. So it's important that on your ads manager, you start studying. What is your cost per click? What is the result you're getting? What is your cost per conversion? What is your cost per lead? What's the reach you're getting? What things should you double down on? Which ad creative is performing? Which ad creative is not performing? So you can turn it off and now channel more funds and resources to the performing ad creative. You see, so you must study. That ads manager is an entire arrangement for you to really study each of your metrics. So you study your cost per click, you study your cost per lead, study all of those things that it gives you, the budget, the reach, the frequency. All of these things that are on the Facebook Ads Manager are for your study, so that you can know what is working. Okay, you can know the back end of what is working, and you know how to double down on what is working. So in Facebook advertising, what we do all the time is to test and tweak. Test, we tweak, and we adjust. All right, because most times the Facebook algorithm is very unpredictable, right? Part of the things we must realize is that the advert you think may not perform may eventually end up outperforming every other advert you thought would have performed. So it's important to know that in Facebook ads, your job is to make the advert out available to the public for them to see, but then at the back end you study the metrics, study what is converting for you, study what is bringing you the most results, and then channeling your energy and your resources in that particular direction, so that you understand the particular advert that is bringing you the greatest results. Okay, if you're getting value from this video, go ahead and subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon and like this video and share, and also leave a comment. Let me understand which of the mistakes that you have made in time past and how to go about resolving those issues. All right, so I want to hear from you in the comment section of this video. And so these are the 5 mistakes that I have seen way too often that most advertisers are making and are continuing to make on a daily basis. But if you pay attention to what I've shared with you in this video, you will realize that you could stop making these mistakes and then start optimizing your adverts for them to become profitable. Okay, so if you look at your screen right now, I've done a detailed video on the Facebook campaign objectives and how to optimize your ad for the right objective. So click the video right now and let's see on the other side.